Hello, boys and girls. Do you remember when we studied percentages of whole numbers? We've been studying them since September or October. We first studied percentages of whole numbers, or one of our first experiences was when you bought your cars. Our most recent experience has been buying homes. To really understand percentages of whole numbers, I want to put this into the context that we've been using. We've been talking about down payments. When you bought your cars earlier in the year, you paid a down payment toward the purchase of the car, and as you've purchased your homes most recently this past week, you have also put down some money in the form of a down payment in order to buy the home. Let's get a better understanding of what a down payment is. We had this text a couple weeks back, and it explained to us kind of the idea of a down payment. I'll just read it, and you can read it along. A down payment is money that is given to the bank right away. It's in cash, and it just represents part of the entire cost of the large purchase. For example, some people who buy a $20,000 car may give the car dealership's bank $2,000 or 10% or 10 hundredths or 10 hundredths of the value of the car right away. If the person's down payment was $2,000, then she has already paid some of the cost of the car. She would have $18,000 left to pay the car dealership's bank. Most car buyers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 years, calculate that in months, to pay the loan back. The loan is not called a mortgage, it's just called a car loan or principal. In the case with, working with buying a home, just like buying a car, it's very difficult for most people to afford to pay the entire price of a car or a home all in one payment. So what somebody does is they provide a down payment. We also refer to this as money down. And what it is, it's a partial payment that is given to the seller or the bank right away. And what happens is the cost of the overall cost goes down because you've paid part of the whole right away in the form of a down payment. This graphic shows a man saying that he's going to buy, he's interested in buying a home. The value of the home is $420,000. The seller is selling the home for $420,000. The man in the graphic says, or thinks, or says really, my down payment will be 20% of the value. This man here, like a lot of individuals, would like to pay 20% of the home's value right away. Now, most people cannot afford to pay $420,000 in one lump sum, if you want to call that, in one payment. So what happens is a person pays part of it in the form of a down payment right away. We have to ask ourselves, if this man is going to buy a $420,000 home, and he would like to pay 20% of the value right away, how much would that be? So if we put that into a mathematical sentence, what we know is the value is $420,000. The man is going to pay 20% of that value right away. Take a look at this graphic. This graphic is a pentagon. It has 5 equal parts. Each part represents a fifth. That's because 20% can be written as 1/5 in fraction form. This is 20% or 1/5. That is 20% or 1/5. This is 20% or 1/5. And so is this and that. Now, here, to understand this conceptually, we have to understand that this entire pentagon represents the value of the home, $420,000. The man is only going to pay for this much of the home, what I'm shading in, right away. This is going to be his down payment. So ultimately we ask ourselves our question, what does this shaded part of the whole represent in terms of money or value? If 1/5 and another fifth and another fifth and another 1/5 and another 1/5 represent the whole of $420,000, what does one of the fifths represent? That's conceptually speaking what we're trying to understand. Mathematically, with computation, we have to ask ourselves a question. That is often how we get to answers, by asking questions. I ask myself, what is this value of this value? Then I start putting some numbers in to represent. What is 1/5 of $420,000? What is 1/5 or 20% of $420,000? That's the question I ask. What is 1/5 or 20% of $420,000? I prefer working in percentages, so I'm going to ask myself, what is 20% of $420,000? The next thing I ask is, how can I make this more mathematical? I know that in math, of represents multiplication, so I'm going to translate this again. What is 20% times $420,000? I'm going to translate this further. So what is 20% times $420,000? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my 20% to be a decimal. What is 20 hundredths of, or times, $420,000? What is 20 hundredths times $420,000? I can even express it with symbols. What is 20 hundredths, what is 20 hundredths, times $420,000? And I'm ready now to solve this problem, but I had to understand initially what it meant. This whole value is $420,000. 1/5 represents 20%, which is the down payment. What is this value? This one piece, this one out of the 5 pieces. If all 5 are equal to $425,000, 1 out of the 5 is equal to what? And then we would calculate it. 20% or 20 hundredths times $420,000 equals $84,000. What I did was I used that multiply zero strategy, or non-zero strategy that I taught you earlier in the year. And what I did was I took the 2 and I took the 42, and I'm going to multiply those, and then I get 84. And then I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 remaining zeros. Excuse me, then I'm not going to add all 5 remaining zeros. I'm going to add the 3 remaining zeros, just because I know that this value mentally would be in the 10,000s place. I don't like strategies, quick calculations like this, tricks like this. I mean, I don't mind them, but we have to understand this conceptually. There's also a fractional way to perform this with 1/5, and there's even an algebraic way, and I challenge you to try both of those yourself. Alright, that's it for this lesson. I will talk to you later. Stay tuned for more lessons. Thanks.